Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ribhav Gia, the moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all to the webinar, which is being organized by the Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICI. Please block your calendar on Wednesdays and Fridays to get insights into the various emerging topics and high-value technical topics. So today it is my pleasure to be the moderator for the webinar on opportunities for CA professional in IFSC Gift City and in Singapore. In a short while, we'll start this webinar. First, I would like to apprise you about the CPE committee. In today's ever-changing professional scenario worldwide, the biggest challenge the profession face is how to stay on the top of their game while adapting to the new requirements and norms. Therefore, it is imperative to aim to be up to date to offer unique guidance, influence others with their innovative approach and expertise. It is also vital to stretch old ideas beyond traditional boundaries. In this context, continuing professional education facilitates professionals to maintain, improve, and broaden their knowledge, skills, and expertise required to achieve their professional goals through webinars, seminars, etc. The program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1 hour each, and the topics are opportunities for CA profession in IFSC Gift City and opportunities for CA profession in Singapore. Our eminent speakers will talk about the above mentioned two emerging areas of professional interest. Starting the session, we have with us the chairman of the professional committee, Mr. C.A. Satish Kumar Gupta ji, and the vice chairman of the CPE, C.A. Vishnu Kumar Agarwal ji. Vishnu Kumar Agarwal ji,
he would not be able to join today, and you can invite him as of now.
Yeah. So I would like to request C.A. Satish Kumar Gupta ji, the chairman of the Committee of Continuing Professional Education Committee, to come and address. Before sir giving an address, I would like to provide you with a brief profile of C.A. Satish Kumar Gupta ji. He is currently serving as the chairman of the Continuing Professional Education Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. In addition to this role, he is also the chairman of UDIN Directorate and vice chairman of the Committee of Members in Practice. He previously served as the council member of ICI from 2019 to 2022, during which he held various leadership positions in various committees such as chairman in corporate social responsibility, vice chairman in direct tax committee, vice chairman professional development committee, and vice chairman committee on management accounting. He is a professional distinguished figure and served as president of the Rajasthan Tax Consultant Association, a premier body of tax profession for a remarkable decade, 2013 to 2023. In the past, he has also held the position of the chairman of Jaipur branch of Central India Regional Council of ICI, during which the branch was honored with the Excellent Branch Award by CIRC, recognizing outstanding performance under his leadership. He is a prolific speaker and writer. He has authored numerous papers, delivered insightful lectures at various seminars, residential refresher courses, and webinars. His areas of expertise include income tax assessment, surveys and search under the Income Tax Act, and soft skill and personal development topics such as goal settings and career planning. So I would now request you to give the welcome address to this session.
Thank you, Ribhav. Thanks a lot for such a nice and lengthy introduction. Whether I have my own doubts that whether it is correct or not, but let us thank you. And I have today a company of Anuradha ji from Singapore. We have Sanjay Gattani ji, Vice Chairperson of ICI Singapore. We have Amit Kedia ji, my own brother from Jaipur, Rajasthan. And we have Ajit Bhai Tiwari ji, who is working a lot for the CP committee, team CP and team technical for this webinar. And my dear friends who in a very large number attending this webinar. Thank you very much. Welcome each one of you. Friends, since we are on webinar and we are on the webinar organized by the CP committee, I would just like to talk something about the CP committee and few informations what we have done in the council in several committees, especially where I am attached. So friends, as of now, I would like to talk about the CP committee as rightly told by the Ribhav. CP committee is Continuous Professional Education Committee, and this year we have focused on two major things: quality and availability of the programs. Quality, you people are viewing in through webinars that you are meeting with like Anuradha ji and like other dignitaries of our members who are settled abroad, but we have invited them to share their views about the opportunities in their country for our chartered accountants. We have also added several other things like industry-specific webinars, meaning thereby, friend, that we have invited on the infrastructure industry, IT industry, we have invited some other industry people, members also, just sharing their experience, exposure, and views about the opportunities for our profession in their specific industry. In Friday webinar, we are also working on different opportunities. Like today, Amit Kedia is taking and we're sharing his views about the opportunities in the Gift City. We all are aware that Gift City is something, a very new concept as far as India is concerned. So, and it is established in the Ahmedabad, but opportunities are lot. Likewise, Anuradha Madam and Sanjay Gattani ji would speak that what opportunities we have for our profession in Singapore. So we are committed to quality. As far as availability of CP program are concerned, friends, you must be aware that we don't have our units, our chapters, our circles, our groups at several places of country. So we are in process to form as much as CP chapters, CP circles, and CP groups, enabling our members living in remote areas that they are not escaped from the CP credit program, CP knowledge sharing program, CP knowledge enhancement program. So we are committed for the quality and for the availability. Friends, one thing as far as quality is concerned, I would also like to share, we are working very deeply that how we can implement this year onwards CP credit on real-time basis. What is happening, friends, as of now, we get the credit by registering, by attending the program, but if you don't attend the program completely, for suppose it's for 12 hours registration and we don't attend the program for all 12 hours, but get the credit for 12 hours. Since there is no other mechanism to get it restricted. So with the help of technology, friends, from this year onwards, we are going to implement the real-time CP credit program. So if a member gets registration for 12 hours, but attend the program for 6 hours, so he or she will get the credit of CP only for 6 hours. So this we are going to implement from this year onwards. So it will definitely ensure the quality of the program, and it will definitely ensure that our members do attend the program by attending that all time for which they have registered. And there are other things at CP committee which we are going to do, that all the branches and all the CP chapters, CP circles will get the event calendar very soon in their hands. In that calendar is very purposeful and very specific, friends. Our team has worked a lot for making that calendar, specifying all the broad subjects and all the topics which we can cover for covering those particular subjects or the areas where opportunity exists, where knowledge exists. So this is the something which I wanted to talk from you about the CP program. Friends, as rightly told by Ribhav Ghia that I'm also leading UDIN directorate this time. So I would like to tell that we have taken 3-4 decisions affecting, I think our members will be very happy to know about those decisions. So I want to share with you people that under the UDIN, we are going to bring, rather council has passed, the implementation is only pending stage. I think we will be able to implement all these things very soon. So what we have done, friends, number one, that we have restricted the UDIN generation in case of tax audit to 60. Now, no member would be in position to generate UDIN for 61st audit. He can generate UDIN only for 60 audits for which he is entitled as per the ICI norms. This has been passed by the council and we are working how we can implement. Second thing, what we have done here, that if there is no eligibility of the member under section 44 AB clause CDE, then he cannot tick all those CDE clauses. He or she will be able to tick those clauses only in the circumstances when those clauses are being, the conditions for those clauses are being fulfilled by that particular member who is doing that attestation function. Next thing which we have done in the UDIN, friends, very interesting and very important, that is that what happened in our profession, that an auditee comes to a member, gets his accounts audited, and change the auditor in the next year. And there is no mechanism to our preceding auditor to know the name of succeeding auditor who has not intimated the preceding auditor even. What we have done through the help of UDIN technology, friends, now we are enabling our members to know the name of succeeding auditors in the case of their auditee who have changed the auditor, suppose for without paying the fees, suppose for other technical objections. So now the preceding auditors can go ahead if they have some issues in the appointment of the succeeding auditor. So these two things I have, three things I have discussed with you. One more thing which we are coming up with the UDIN, that we are asking our members to give the that what qualification, what whether they have qualified or whether they have given adverse remark or whether they have some disclaimer in their audit report to mention that particular fact in their UDIN. The purpose of this, friend, that we want, in the case of need, we can submit with before the government that in how many cases our members have qualified the report, or they have given the disclaimer, or they have given the adverse opinion, or they have given the EON. So these are the things which we have changed in the UDIN this year, and hope you would like all these things. As far as I am vice chairman of the CMP committee, friends, and CMP committee, you all know, committee for members in practice, and it's a really wonderful committee. I had an experience to chair this committee when I was last time in the council. And at that time, if you remember, friends, we did several things which you loved a lot, like Poonawalla Finance, unsecured loan, like the Bank of Baroda credit card, like tele 80% discount on tele, and several other things apart from working paper management certificate course, etc., etc. This year also, under the dynamic leadership of our President Charanjot Singh Ji Nanda, Vice President Prasanna Sir, and the Chairman of the committee Madhukar Ji, we are working a lot that how we can bring happiness on the lips of our members, how can make them a person who may have several opportunities to this profession. So we are working a lot. Just to brief something about this CMP, we are coming up with the GST litigation expert course. We are coming up with the MSME expert course. We are coming up with the real estate super consultant certificate course. And certificate, this type simply course, no certificate. So we are coming with the 4-5 ideas, digital virtual CFO course. And we are also coming up with several other benefits which would definitely love, that we are coming with the unsecured loan scheme. We are coming up with the another credit card scheme. We are coming up with the some bank account, even some benefits our extraordinary benefits for our members. And we are also working on several other initiatives. So with this brief, but I would like to share few information also. If any of chartered accountants who wants to go for the IES, Indian Administrative Services, So your council has taken a decision that the council or ICI will help that particular boy or girl who is a member but wants to go for the administrative services in terms of providing a mentorship and providing a concession in the coaching cost. And there are other things, friend, but I would like to end my this speech as of now that don't forget this from this year onwards, it is compulsory to use newly incorporated formats for non-corporate entities, including the guidelines thereof. So don't forget, friends, to adopt and to apply all those provisions and all those guidelines in the formats if you are going for attestation function for new non-corporate entities. So with these friends, I'm really lucky today having Anuradha ji, having Sajan Gattani ji, having Amit Kedia ji and Vibhav in our team today. And I think you will be benefited by their deliberations, definitely. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Jai Bharat, Jai ICI. All the best. Over to Vibhav.
Thank you, sir, for your
Thank you so much.
efforts and insights in the Professional Education Committee. Sir, now we would like to start a topic. The first session, opportunities for CA in IFSC Gift City. Today our speaker is Amit Kumar Kedia, sir, who is a distinguished chartered accountant and a partner at a reputed firm, bringing over 17 years of experience across finance, compliance, and strategic consultancy. He is a trusted advisor in India and specializes in fundraising and financial strategy. His multifaceted experience include regulatory compliance like RERA, SEBI, IFSC, legal and dispute resolution, investment restructuring, capital market, corporate advisory, labor law, and statutory compliance. Amit sir, deep domain knowledge and strategic foresight makes him a valuable contribution to India for financial and regulatory ecosystem. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vibhav, for my introduction. First of all, I would like to thank the CP committee, Chairman Shri Satish Gupta ji and Vice Chairman Vishnu Agarwal ji for giving this opportunity with our co-speaker Anuradha ji and Sanjay ji. So friends, today in this next 1 hour, we would all be understanding about the opportunities which India had given to us as a gift city at Gujarat, which is near Ahmedabad, near to Gandhinagar. So before starting, I just tell you how big the opportunity is, friends. Some months before, I was there in a session of a foreign branch of ours, and where like friends were saying, like if this opportunity which India showcased now had been some years before, it would have been a case that we would have not left our country, we would have not left India. Prima facie, if we try to understand, what is this gift? What is this IFSC? So friends, we all know SEBI, the Security Exchange Board of India. And the Security Exchange Board of India is having its head office at Mumbai, at Maharashtra, in India. Similarly, is the relationship between this gift and the IFSC. The gift is a place which is near Ahmedabad, 20 kilometers from the Ahmedabad International Airport, and IFSC is having its head office at this place which is known as Gift City, which is near to Gandhinagar, Gujarat. So hopefully you might have understood the correlationship between gift IFSC. The gift word is more familiar to everybody as compared to IFSC as of now. But what we would be understanding in today's session would be of IFSC. How IFSC, similarly, like the other regulators like SEBI or RBI or the pension, how this opportunity is there in our profession. So, to be very specific, this IFSC deals with specifically with the financial product, with the financial services, and with the financial institutions. That we need to be very clear with. There is no product which is imported or exported from this special economic zone known as GIFT. These are the specific areas which are being dealt in the IFSCA regulation at GIFT City. In these regulation, if we talk, just before that, I would just like to run you through this GIFT area, the GIFT City area, which is a special economic zone, and it has a place where there is almost 67% of the place is in terms of commercial. There is a residential area which is around 22%, and for some social space, there is almost 11% of the area. Apart from this special economic zone area, there is a vast, big domestic area also. So you can understand this special economic zone is in the territory of India, but the jurisdiction is not of India. It's a international jurisdiction which is there. So if we talk about doing any transaction at Gift City, at that special economic zone, which is of around 261 acres, then it is as good as we are doing a transaction at any foreign jurisdiction like a US, UK, Singapore, Dubai, Australia, Hong Kong, any part of the world. So that is the basic difference which this special economic zone and the domestic tariff area is having with. Now, if we move forward and understand what this city is giving, undoubtedly it's a concept which is at a nascent stage. It's been an initial period which have been gone through. Today, the status is every month, if somebody is going after a gap of a month, he or she would going to see a new development, a new building which is coming there. You can just imagine the futuristic developed cities like Dubai or Singapore or Hong Kong, and imagine the class, the business clubs which it would be you would be having. The infrastructure is such that all the cooling areas are done in a centralized manner. There is a specific tunnels for like the disposal for all the waste management. There is no, as such, you can say waste which is available. Everything just goes through the pipelines to the tunnels which are attached to the buildings itself. In addition, there would be multi cuisine restaurants or like the five-star hotels, world-class education, international uh, schools are coming up, international universities are coming up, hospitals, medical facilities, all are at the international level, which are had started developing, and in time to come, maybe a year or a year and a half, so they all would be available there. Some are already there, and some have started their construction and would be there. So that was all about the infrastructure which this gift as a city is having. As told to you before, GIFT and IFSC are two different things. GIFT is the place, the land where IFSC, the International Financial Service Center Authority, which is run by the IFSCA Act, is having its head office. This act got approved through the parliament of our country way back in 2019, and the authority got established in 2020. Friends, we all know there was COVID, which was there on the corner at the initial stage of 2020. Because of that, there was a 1.5 year slowdown in the formation of the authority, but the authority was still working at its peak. Once this authority was there very aggressively after 21, today we would see how the development have happened, how and at what stage now this IFSCA have done work. So to tell you all about RBI, we all know the Reserve Bank of India and the regulations through which it runs. Security Exchange Board of India, the insurance and the pension regulators, they all have been clubbed together and a unified regulator had been proposed at IFSC. So tomorrow, if any decisions, any regulations are to be formed for any of these 4 areas, then at IFSCA, which is there at GIFT, would be done by IFSC. One clarification, friends, during our this 1 hour, if I say GIFT city or GIFT or IFSCA, it tantamounts to be almost same that we are talking about IFSC, the regulation. So if we talk about and see how large, how innovative this hub is and how the government is looking forward. We all know it's a baby of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. He have seen this vision when he was there as a Chief Minister, and when he is our Prime Minister now, he's taking care that this IFSCA stands for itself and give a working to people across the world how the other IFSC in the world are working, maybe at the United States or at UK or Dubai or Singapore or Hong Kong, Japan. Whichever these IFSCs, there are one IFSC in every country, and our government is seeing that this IFSC stands to the topmost where it stands today in its working. The way the government is seeing the progress, the 2047 as the Viksit Bharat, IFSCA would going to be helping in achieving as a very big catalyst towards this, maybe towards the workforce which we are having, or towards the abilities in terms of the real estate. If we compare and see any of the real estate across the world, and we compare the real estate which is there existing in our country, they are far more cost effective. So if we see, the regulations have been simplified in the regime of IFSCA. As told to you previously, the RBI, SEBI, PFRDA and IRDAI all have been merged, and there is a unified regulator which is IFSC. There is a single window system of putting the application for getting all approvals, kickstarting of the work. So you need not to go from window to window or place to place where you find that any approval is required. It's absolutely a single window system. There are taxing benefits which are there from the income tax itself and from the Gujarat state government, which are giving additional initiatives towards it. Undoubtedly, the infrastructure which is being developed and one which is being proposed in time to come would be a international class infrastructure, along with it giving a credibility of a smart city, which we have seen how the infrastructure is being developed and proposed in our previous slides, where if we understand the way of development and the way it would be done in future. Now, we are talking about the professional opportunities. There are almost 32 activities which are there. Today, we would be having a very holistic picture of it. Frankly, if I take an understanding of each and every activities, it may take more than some couple of hours, but I would be just running through you an overview about like the activities and the opportunities which are available. So on a broader side, banking and finance, wherein any bank, nationally or internationally, can come and open their shop at IFSC. Insurance, again, insurance, reinsurance, insurance broker, they all can be there, open their shops. So the professional opportunities are coming in a manner we can help them up, how they can set up. If these organizations are shifting, coming nationally and from internationally, we as professional can give them our professional services, or we can be associated with them, maybe in terms of a consultant or under any services which as an employee, as in into employment, as in like what is suitable to us. Apart from that, capital markets, maybe the fund management, maybe the AIFs, REIT, InvIT, or the bullion market. So friends, what I am talking about here is not Indian entities starting their shops in GIFT IFSC. It is international companies also. So tomorrow is Bank of Kuwait thinks that I need to come open a branch of mine at GIFT IFSC. They can open their shop there. They can start their world operation from GIFT IFSC. Similarly, tomorrow, if Blackstone thinks that I need to shift all my fund management at GIFT, they can just come and start their shop. Again, fintech as an opportunity. Fintechs of national or internationally can come and open their shops at GIFT. Global in-house center, any of the entities which are present globally can now create their global house center at GIFT City and start managing from there. Aircraft, ship leasing businesses, ancillary services, direct listings in IFSC. So we would be understanding some of them in detail in this today's session of ours. Then, if we see the intermediaries which can start their operations at GIFT IFSCA, could be like services of a custodian or a credit rating agency or debt debenture trustees or the portfolio managers, investment bankers, depository participants, clearing member, brokers, dealer. So tomorrow, if a broker from US thinks that I need to start my brokerage business to other part of the world, but the taxation at US is high. They can come, get themselves registered at GIFT IFSC, and then start their operations there. Similarly, the account aggregators and so on. So these are the intermediaries which can think and kickstart their operations there. So that was about a key areas which are available at GIFT. So we have understood the infrastructure of GIFT. We have understood this unified regulator, the IFSC, and the services which are available. Now, if we just run through, like from this part where we started as IFSC in 2020 and in 2025, so the data are of March 2025. You can just imagine that there is a 10, 12 additional percentage on the figures which I am telling you right now, right away. So in these last 2.5 months, 10% have increased. So if I'm telling you 865 entities have been registered at IFSCA, then that figure is of March 2025. And today, if I see the real-time data, it would be around 1,000 of them. Similarly, if we see in terms of number of registrations, in terms of the aircraft and the ship leasing, there are around 33 odd aircraft lessors who are there, and there are around 24 ship lessors which are there. In terms of the assets they have done, there are around 242 aircrafts which have been gone through this process, and around 18 ships which are there. Apart from this, if we see the number of transactions in the banking industry, around 88.51 billion of transactions. Cumulative banking transaction 147.49, and cumulative derivative around 104 billion. Similarly, in the capital market, if we see the monthly turnover around 92 billion, cumulative debt which is being listed on the exchange around 65 billion. Number of fund entities which exist on March 2025 is around 162. And similarly, the schemes which have been launched by them is around 229. And around $15 billion have been raised by these fund management. So you can see the progress which had came effectively in these last 3 years. Why I'm saying 3 years? Because of the COVID thing which happened, and the regulator was not well in place. So if we see in terms of the sustainable finance, in terms of the bullion, in terms of the insurance sector, you can see how phenomenal the listings, the value in which the working is being done and being carried out in terms of like the number of these suppliers, in number of the insurance firms, how big is these numbers. So if I just place the bigger picture to you of these 800 odd entities which have been registered, see the banking sector, the payment service center, the finance company. So again, these are the opportunities where we can serve them. We would be discussing at a later stage. We can help them in their registration process. We can help them in their compliance process. Apart from that, you can see these capital market. So these registered entities are not from India only. They are across the world. Funds from Mauritius have now, the managers are now coming and starting their businesses from India. From Dubai, the Dubai authority, the ADA, that is the Abu Dhabi authority, have come and started their fund there. So many of the pension funds of the GCC countries are planning to come and take GIFT as their base. So see how phenomenal and the names which are coming and getting themselves registered. Then the insurance sector, the ancillary services, bullion market, fintech, GICs. These are like what have been already registered on 31st March 2025. So entities like the investment banker, the debenture trustee, the bullion intermediaries, they all, so in totality, 865 entities have already been registered at GIFT IFS. So now we have seen the place, we have seen what are the opportunities, and overall, the opportunities where we have reached on 31st March 2025. Moving forward, why we are talking so much on GIFT? Why and what are the attractions which GIFT City is giving? So here where is the biggest driver, or you can say the epicenter, or you can say the biggest selling reason what the GIFT is offering to entities which are coming. So if we see, there is an 100% tax holiday under section 80 LA for continuous 10 years out of the 15 years of operations from where they have started their operation. So tomorrow you think, after 3 years, I would be making profits. Then you can seek an exemption of 10 consecutive years, leaving first 3 years starting from fourth year for another 10 years from there. So in this similar manner, when you would be exempted from tax, you just needs to pay the MAT under section 115 JB, which post 10 years you would be getting a credit of it. So effectively, if you see the cash flow, definitely yes, 9% would be an outflow of it, but there would be no tax as post 10 years, whichever tax you need to pay, you would be getting a credit of the amount you have already paid as MAT in these years. Apart from these direct tax, in terms of the indirect taxes, that is the goods and service tax on the services, if any of the transactions are done between an IFSC unit to IFSC unit, it would not be applicable. So effectively, no tax. If there is any offshore unit, that is, as told to you, this IFSCA is a foreign jurisdiction. This GIFT SCZ is a foreign jurisdiction. So in this foreign jurisdiction, when you are giving the services from this foreign jurisdiction to a jurisdiction outside India, then in that case, again, it would be non-taxable. There would be no taxes. In other words, you can understand like somebody from Dubai is giving a service to Saudi Arabia. So whatever taxing happens in two foreign countries, it does not affect the Indian company in India. Similarly, is this jurisdiction of GIFT IFSCA. This is in terms of territory, it is in India, but in terms of jurisdiction, this is not a part of India. Now, moving forward in terms of any services which is given at the domestic area. That is, somebody at GIFT IFSCA give a services to somebody in Chennai, then it would be a import of service to somebody who is sitting in Chennai. And accordingly, the applicability would be there, as in case that there is an import which has been done in Chennai and there would be an export which is done from GIFT IFSC. Now, if we talk about the transactions at IFSCA in terms of the exchange, the investors who does a transaction at the stock exchanges at IFSCA, again, it would be exempted. So there would be no transaction taxes. The STT, which we say, there would be no STT which would be applicable on the transactions done at the GIFT investors. Accordingly, there would be no commodity transaction taxes in any of the transactions. Any of the transactions which are done at the GIFT City. In addition to it, in terms of the stamp duty, there would be no stamp duty. So somebody goes purchase any assets at GIFT City, then all the registration process would be exempted from taxes. So you might have understood what are the advantages in terms of taxation which is there at GIFT IFS. Moving forward, if we see for the investors who are there, for the investors, if we see in terms of the AIF category, the AIFs which are there in terms of category 1 AIF, it is absolutely a pass-through status. So somebody who have invested, just give me.
Any problem?
No, these are like some issue. There's a blink of any antivirus at my end. Just allow me a minute, please.
Yes. So as of now, we are over 700 participants.
Yeah. So it's showing like in 53 seconds. Can we do like my system may go off? Can Anuradha ji start with her session and I just take and come back?
Okay.
Anuradha ji, are you there?
Anuradha ma'am?
It's showing my system would be off in over 10 seconds.
Sure. So I can do some general introduction about Singapore till such time, and then you can continue with your presentation.
Give me 5 minutes, please.
Sure.
So Anuradha ma'am would be deliberating us about the opportunities for CA professionals in Singapore. She is currently the chairman of the Singapore branch of ICI. And with her, the vice chairman is also with us, CA Sanjay Katani sir. CA Anuradha ma'am, she is a corporate professional and having an experience over 24 years in multinational corporations, both in Singapore and in India, and a social activist. She has grown up a career ladder by starting with Raymond and moving on with Oracle and Sybase India. She has an experience in research-based startup in Singapore and diversifying from IT sectors. Ma'am, like now we would like to introduce the topic for your deliberation. Hello.
That topic, is it?
Yeah, you can start the topic, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Let me just share my presentation.
Yes.
Hello, friends. A very warm evening to everybody. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank CP committee for having us here and giving us this opportunity to represent opportunities in Singapore. At the yes, it's full screen at my end. It's full screen at my end. It's not showing. I just tested that time. It was showing.
I think, ma'am, like okay.
Just give me a moment. I'm trying again. So can you see full screen now?
No, I think we have to like pin out the ma'am.
Anu, you start the, I think.
No, just now when I did, it was working, no?
Yes.
Just now. Is it fine?
Now it's okay, right?
No, it is showing two screens, one of ma'am and one of the PPT.
But I have done nothing here. It is exactly what we were doing some time back. Hold on. Let me check.
Anu, can you do a screen show again?
Ma'am, good.
Just a minute. Okay. Oh, okay. 1 minute, hold on. Video.
Ma'am, can you try once with your video off and just share?
Okay,
screen?
let me. Hold on.
Yeah, now it was fine.
Was it fine?
No, now you have stopped sharing the screen. Could you just share your screen?
Is it working now?
No, ma'am. I think you can turn on your video and start the day.
I'm there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can continue, then I'll come back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Please continue.
So we were talking about the taxation in terms of like the taxation of the AIF, the category 1 and the category 2 AIF. For the category 1 AIF.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'm in the process of doing that. In the meantime, like so that there is no disturbance, so there is no discontinuation. I'm just
Okay.
yeah, just allow me some time to do that. So in terms of the AIF, category 1 and category 2 AIF for the one we were discussing about in terms of the taxation. So category 1 and category 2 AIF, it's a pass-through mechanism. Pass-through mechanism, having said that, whatever income have been received by the AIFs, they would be absolutely given back to the investors who have invested in these AIFs. And if we talk about in terms of in terms of the category 3 AIF, then it's the taxation which is done there at the fund level. So the fund would be deducting the taxes, it would be paying its taxes. As we have noted, 10 years there would be no taxes. So effectively, they would be just putting the mat there with them and they would be moving forward. In terms of the exemptions for the NRs, there would be no PAN or any ITR which would be required for the filings. And in terms of the incomes from the offshore investments which have been done, they would be not taxable. So again, effectively, if we see whatever investments have been done by investors in AIF category 1 or 2 or 3, any would not be required with the PAN card and the ITR filing. My screen is visible, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Then in terms of like if we transfer any of the offshore securities which are traded on the IFSC exchange, again, it would be exempted. So it would not be, you can understand, it would not be treated as a transfer. Again, this jurisdiction is not an Indian jurisdiction. It's a foreign jurisdiction. So if anything is done outside India at any foreign jurisdiction, then it would not be accounted for. Moving forward, if we see in terms of the transfer of the Indian security, again, they would be exempted shares of Indian companies. And if we see the securities which have been issued by the NRIs, then if the permanent establishment are outside India, they would be understood that it is again exempted. So, effectively, in a very simple terminology, we can understand that whatever has been done by the investors at the soil, at the SCZ of GIFT, it would be treated as they have done these transactions in a foreign country which is not related to India. These AIF category 1, 2, 3 again can invest at any part of the world. It is not specific that they need to invest in India only or any specific country. They can invest across the world. Again, if we see about the incomes, which are the interest incomes from the money which has been lent at the IFSC unit, they would be 100% tax free. They would not be taxable. For the interest on the long-term bonds, which is the rupee denominated bond, there would be a TDS of 9%. And if any transfers have been done for the specific securities which are listed at IFSC exchange, they would not be treated as transfers. And friends, we know if anything is not being treated as transfer, then there is no point of capital gain or short term, either short term or long term. So again, these transactions would be exempted. There would be no capital gain which would be arising. So the specified securities which have been covered are the bond, the units of mutual funds, the units of business trust, units of AIF, foreign currency denominated equity shares, derivatives. They all are being covered under these specified securities. Again, there are some exemptions which have been given by the Gujarat government in terms of their expenditures and in terms of their uh, capital expenditure, which any entity comes and set up at the GIFT IFSC. So if we see how the roadmap, how the navigation of this whole work is being done, then we can just see, identify a space there. Once a space has been identified, we just need to go and put our papers with the unified regulator, that is the IFSC. Again, it's a simple single window system. Once the approval have been received from the IFSCA and we get an license to operate, then we can kickstart our operations at IFSC. Now, there are two opportunities which are very directly linked to the professionals, we as chartered accountants. All the 32 opportunities are there. All the 32 services which we have seen in detail are there, but specifically if we talk, there are two major of them. We would be talking and understanding them. Rest all are also having their equal professional opportunity. So bookkeeping, accounting, taxation, and financial crimes compliances services are the one which we can see directly as an opportunity which is direct to us. You can understand, friends, one sitting at any part of the world doing their professional service can now shift their services, start this as a new place of doing their and giving their services to the world. Undoubtedly, it should not be from reconstruction or demerger, but if we see this as an absolutely new horizon for ourselves, then these accounting services, we can kickstart giving these services, starting gift IFSC and giving to the whole world. Maybe in terms of reviewing the annual and the interim financial statements, maybe preparation of them, maybe compilation of the income statement, the balance sheets, the financial informations, analysis of these financial statements, any accounting support services in relation to any of the above would all be covered in the accounting services we as professional can give. But what would be excluded would be the auditing services. We cannot give auditing services there. That would not be covered in the accounting services which is being proposed. In terms of the ancillary services, we can give services like bookkeeping, accounting, taxation. Friends, one beautiful thing which I would just for the sake of repetition would repeat again is that if I'm doing say a bookkeeping, accounting, or a taxation service as an ancillary service provider to any of the client across the world, then I'm sitting in a foreign jurisdiction. I would be taxed zero for 10 years. And I can enjoy the support of the real estate and the support of the human capital of Indians there in India. So tomorrow, we can kickstart this as one of the biggest professional opportunities. For the bookkeeping services, which have been clarified, that it would be the preparation of the records, that is the payroll and the transactions which needs to be recorded. Books keeping services would not be including the payroll or the taxation services. They would be separate. So ancillary services, accounting services, bookkeeping services, the differences which are between them, we need to understand before we think how we need to kickstart and plan our services. Then the financial crime compliance services, many of the entities which are coming and which are hoping to come or which are existing there, we can give these services to them. Under the BAFT service provider rules and regulation, services which we have seen, the bookkeeping, accounting, taxation, and the financial crime compliance services, they all would be included. And taxation services we have seen for.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. We have 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm. That's the reason I'm running fast. Yeah, please allow me another 10 minutes. I would try to sum up. Thank you. So, if we see in terms of the conditions which are required to set up any unit at IFSC, then we need to see and ensure that it is not being done by splitting up. That is, any of the entity which is, for example, any entity which is there in India, we break that entity and some of the people start working at IFSC and some of the people are there still in India. So it would not be like that. It would be absolutely a new entity which needs to be there. Any reconstructing activity would not be allowed for any of the business which are there. Reorganization would not be allowed. So we need to just see that. In part A, it has been defined very clearly. We can just go through the regulation and see how we would not be allowed in the activities if we do any of these in terms of splitting, reconstructing, or reorganizing. Apart from that, if we are seeing that any of the services which have been offered, then those services which have been offered should not be from the transfer of the previous receipts. So, for example, if any of the client we have been working previously, it would not be like that the same client we shift our work to their gift IFSC. It would not be allowed. Or any of their group entities, that we have to understand and we need to know. That would not be allowed in case we want to kickstart our services there. Then, apart from that, the details have been given in the form B, from where the schedule we can just see and take care. So there would be a principal officer and a compliance officer who would be required. So he would be responsible for all the activities which is being carried on, and both of them, the principal officer and the compliance officer, needs to be based out of IFSC. Apart from that, the qualifications which are there, which are being notified, is for us, like C is the what we just need to go through, that the professional who is a chartered accountant is qualified to render these services. Apart from that, the degree must be recognized from India or in the foreign institution, and the financial crime compliance services, the principal officer must hold specific qualification in the financial crime compliances. That we need to ensure and see while we are appointing these officers. The principal officer needs to have a minimum qualification of 5 years, and respectively for the compliance officer, it needs to be minimum of 3 years. So this is a very big professional opportunity where from India and the chartered accountants can start look forward for setting up their shops at Gift IFSC, or chartered accountants who are at any part of the world can see this as their new jurisdiction to give services across the world. Now, again, this is a very big professional opportunity which would be coming in time to come. That is in terms of direct listing. So for the scarcity of time, I just go through very quickly. Currently, there are two exchanges which are there, which have started, the Indian INX and the NSE INX. They are subsidiaries of the stock exchange which are there in India, and they are giving services in terms of all the activities of listings of equity, derivative services, bond, all the services are being offered and given to them. Now, the beauty is this: any of the Indian company can go and get themselves listed at IFSC. So you might have heard about the names of ADRs, GDRs, where like companies used to go to US as a foreign jurisdiction, used to raise capital there, and then pull back that capital way back to the home country. Similarly, the Indian companies can keep this as their jurisdiction and can raise capital from across the world. There are 15 currencies which have been notified as on date apart from rupee. So rupee is not one of them out of these 15 currency. So if any of the Indian company wants to go and list at IFSCA, they can, in any of these 15 currencies, they can raise capital.
Sorry, sir. We'll have to like move on to the question and answer session because we are really out of time.
Just give me a minute and I'm just.
Sure, sir.
Similarly, the companies which are there at IFSCA and the companies which are foreign companies can come and use this jurisdiction. So yeah, there was some more and we can discuss at a later. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, there are two similar questions, like from Kishori Lal T. Gandhi ji from Pune. He is asking how to start office for providing services to from Gift City.
So as discussed, like we just need to see that are we giving eligible services. Once we identify like, yes, we are giving eligible services, we just need to put our application with the Gift City IFSC authority. And once they approve it, we can kickstart our service. For that, like you need to have a office address there where like there is share office which is also available, and if somebody wants to go for like exposure to a bigger office, they can do that.
Okay, sir. So thank you for such a wonderful session. I would like to inform you that there are over 900 participants listening to us right now. Now we would like to invite a second faculty for the.
Thank you very much.
CA Anuradha Shroff ma'am. She is the chairman of the Singapore branch, and CA Sanjay Katani sir. He is the vice chairman of the Singapore branch of ICI. She would let us know. She would introduce the topic of opportunities for CA professionals in Singapore. So, Anuradha ma'am, can we start? Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Sorry. Hi. Thank you so much, Ribaf. Is my screen now full screen or is this still the problem?
It's full screen now.
It's full screen, yeah. Thank you. So a very warm good evening to everyone. And without further ado, in the interest of time, I will start the presentation.
Anu,
Yes?
if you can switch on your screen as well. You are not visible.
Okay, let me try. Just give me yeah. Now I hope it's not giving the same problem as before.
Ma'am, actually, both the screens are now showing your camera and the PPT.
Okay. Yeah, so today we are talking about opportunities for Indian chartered accountants in Singapore. Singapore, I guess, for every one of us, we think, 1 minute. Okay. So somebody's asked for remote control of my this thing. Okay. So the fact is that we all think, Singapore, we have some thoughts about Singapore. So let me just explain a bit about Singapore before I begin my presentation. Singapore is an island country and city-state. So when I was undergoing this presentation, the formalities, I was asked that, can you give me which city are you from, which state are you from? So Singapore actually is a very small place where, we just have around, how many square meters? What happened? Somebody is remotely accessing my laptop, I guess. Is the camera on now? Okay.
Yes, ma'am, it's on.
Okay. So Singapore, is a city state which has around 736 square kilometer of land area. It is made only largely out of islands, and we have only 6 million people in this country, city state. Is my video there now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this is Singapore for us. Interesting fact, Singapore it has 4 official languages. It has English, Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil also as a language. And it is sort of a melting pot of all religions and all ethnic groups, with 9% Indians being present in Singapore. Some of these, data is relevant as of 2024. With that, I put in this disclaimer and I start my presentation to explain to you why Singapore. So as we just figured out, as I just explained to you, it's not that big a country or city or state, but here it is the largest gateway to Asia Pacific. Here, there are so many financial institutions, and it's a very strong financial ecosystems with 200 plus banks and global MNCs having their presence in Singapore. Why does that happen? That happens because it has got a very business-friendly regulatory environment. The ease of doing business in Singapore is very, once you start doing that, people just enjoy it. Whether it's opening bank accounts or whether it's doing your tax filings or whether it's doing any compliances, it's very user-friendly and very well explained. You don't need, a lot of support for doing things. Singapore definitely has a demand for skilled financial professionals. And on a personal front, the biggest benefit that people see here in Singapore is that the personal taxes and corporate taxes are much lower than so many other countries, whether it's India or westward bound. So from the East aspect, definitely it's very beneficial. In the last few decades, Singapore has also become very important as a hub for creation and innovation. It has the largest semiconductor chips that are being also created here. So Singapore is important from these aspects. Now, why is Singapore? 1 minute. I think, hold on, I'm just trying to move my screen here. Why is Singapore? What are the relevant sectors for the CAs in Singapore? Banking and financial services for sure. We have a lot of renowned chartered accountants, a lot of our members from the CA fraternity here in banking and financial services. Consulting and advisory also, we see a lot of work here because a lot of MNCs are here, and we also cater to cross geographies from Singapore. Singapore has one of the largest fintech festivals every year in November, and it caters to fintech and startups quite significantly. MNCs and corporates, I did talk about. Singapore being so compliant does have a lot of work that can be covered around risk compliance and internal audit. And Singapore also gives people a lot of opportunities. I think it's for Singaporeans largely that people can go on statutory boards of companies. But across all these sectors, CAs can remain relevant. What are the in-demand roles for CAs in Singapore? You will find there's a need for financial analysts and business analysts for people who are coming up as fresh CAs. You have requirements for internal auditors and risk managers. Tax consultants and advisors are always in need, and today transfer pricing and international tax does take quite a lot of demand here. Financial controllers forever, compliance officers and regulatory reporting. And definitely it's the new thing that's happened for the last, again, a couple of decades, where we see a lot of ERP implementations taking place in Singapore. We do have a lot of banks and even MNCs having their ERP and financial experts stationed out of Singapore. Here again, when we come across from all our various setup here, what we think is the IFRS is people have to learn a lot about IFRS and international taxation. So, and valuation also is very important part of doing business in Singapore. Financial modeling together with that valuation is there. People work extensively on data analytics, transfer pricing systems, and then yes, regulatory framework. So MAS is the Monetary Authorities of Singapore, and ACRA is the taxation department that looks after and the corporate, the equivalent to the company, this thing in India, where we look at the corporate laws. So these are very important regulatory frameworks, and people who understand this can come in as consultants. So now I will touch. So that was basically on the requirements that people can have as Indians or CAs can have in Singapore. Now I will talk largely about the fact that how can CA residents people who are residents in Singapore can gain an edge. So any Indian chartered accountant who comes to Singapore as a resident and is there for more than 6 months with a valid residency visa, we have signed an MOU with the Institute of Singapore Chartered Accountants, and if they are members of the CA chapter, together with a couple of referral letters, they can become an associate member of ISCA. This definitely gives them a little more advantage when they are looking out for better opportunities or when they are representing themselves for business within Singapore. They can definitely become a member in network with the ICA Singapore chapter. We have 500 plus members here in Singapore chapter. And we have from all the areas that I have spoken before, we have people from across all the service sectors who are networked here in the Singapore chapter. Together with that, members who are in Singapore actually can pursue additional certifications like CPA Australia with a couple of papers, CFA, CISA, etc., which we can do from India as well. That helps add to their portfolio of educational qualifications and employability in Singapore. Singapore does follow the Singapore Financial Reporting Standards, and it is so very important for all the chartered accountants who want employment within Singapore to look at opportunities and, to understand the SFRS. So what are the challenges that one really needs to prepare for? And I want to stay on this slide and talk more about this. So for Indian chartered accountants who want to come to Singapore to do business, they have to first find an employment. When you have found an employment, then you can come, you can get, the local companies, Singapore companies have to sponsor your work permit. That is a very important part. Very recently, in the last couple of years, Singapore has started a rule where they calculate points for employment passes. And there are so many criteria which are not directly in the hand of an individual who's applying for a job or a visa. So coming in directly as an employment, the company really has to need the employee and also be ready to support the work visa. But once that is done, that then becomes very easy. The first task of getting the employment pass criteria is the challenging one. Today, this happens because person is looking, when companies are employing, they have to actually first find local employees and see that why they have to get foreign talent. But once again, they have identified that. So a person who's looking for employment in Singapore should ideally understand what is the local need for Singapore jobs. And while we chartered accountants are very versatile and we come in with a lot of knowledge and we are able to fit ourselves into any environment, it is very important that when we are applying for jobs, we understand what is the requirement for the law of for the land of Singapore. And when we are interviewing and preparing for that, we look at ourselves from that aspect, and be prepared for that. Indian chartered accountants are definitely facing, because Singapore is a melting pot of talent from across all the countries, and for the various reasons I just explained, we have so much of people, so many people coming across here to enjoy the benefits from Singapore. Surprisingly, we feel that people from the West may not be here, but there's a good percentage of people from the Europe and US also who are here in Singapore. So when we are applying for any opportunities, we are definitely competing with not only the local Singaporeans, but we are also competing with expat talents from all across the world. And that, all these things are not deterrents, but these are things to be prepared for when one is, looking out for opportunities, and be prepared for the fact that you come well prepared to the table for your interviews. The most important part is cultural differences in the workspaces. In India, we have a very different kind of work style, and in Singapore, definitely they do operate very differently. I don't think so there is any shortcut for hard work. That definitely remains the same whether in India or Singapore. But culturally, we have to understand the cultural nuances of the melting pot, because here we are not only dealing with Singaporean, Chinese, we are dealing with Malays, Indians, and the expats from the world over. So people come in with their own nuances, and we have to sort of understand how to fit in better. Because Indians, as I told you, form only 9% of the larger population of Singapore, of only 6 million people. Coming back to explain to you about the visa and work eligibility. So for an employment pass, for example, there's a minimum monthly salary of $5,500 per month. Together with that, the sponsorship is required by employer. People who earn a certain higher amounts can apply for personalized employment pass, but that is only when you have already obtained that pass or obtained a job in Singapore. You are working here, and then you can go in for a self-sponsorship. So these myths I want to break here, because sometimes people feel that, oh, I can apply for a personalized employment pass even when I'm in India. So it is not possible. You have to first get a job here of a certain salary, and then only after that, meeting all the eligibility criteria, you apply for a personalized employment pass. They all come in with their own do's and don'ts. We need to understand that better. But what are the options then when people who have, who want to be entrepreneurs? They can apply for Entree Pass. You will have to go to the ACRA website to understand some of these things better. You can apply for Entree Pass. People who are having a lot of technical background and a senior position can apply for Tech Pass. The companies can sponsor their employment pass through the Tech Pass. So there are ways through which people can come in here. But it is, it is a journey that one has to first understand what all is needed. Okay, I'll just go back and stay here for more. So one of the requests that we get largely here in Singapore is a lot of people keep on writing to us from time to time saying that they want to go ahead and become a partner with some Singapore organizations or setups who are doing services and who are either servicing in the tax on the various aspects I covered, people who are servicing clients world over. So those partnerships also one has to understand will come in through networking and resources. You'll have to figure out, you have to definitely, connect with members here in Singapore. You have to rather come and, meet them, because Just writing emails so many times or just putting connects may not work. People definitely, you can come if you are visiting Singapore, do write to the Singapore chapter. We are happy to have you join us at any of the events or that we are hosting in that month for you to network with our members and, see if there are opportunities. But just for names behind emails, we may not be able to address that. But we are happy to help if you're ever visiting Singapore. We don't in Singapore, the Personal Data Protection Act is very sincerely and very severely taken. So we don't have the liberty to share information. But if you are here personally, you can connect with people. LinkedIn is definitely an interesting way where we do find people connecting a lot with Singapore chapter members. But again, as I said, faces to names is definitely more important. So try and set up calls and if possible, share more about yourself with people. It helps. ISCA membership, I did speak about that. And, if it's a Singapore resident, then I would definitely recommend them to take up the ISCA membership. It is a good professional recognition. I have named here a few recruitment firms from Singapore for those who are looking for professional opportunities, jobs or services. Robert Walters, Michael Page, Hayes, Rain, Randstad. These are some world-renowned companies, but they do work extensively in Singapore placements. Do tap them, do record them, and try to follow their pages for looking for opportunities in Singapore. Having said that, I don't know if I have demotivated you or that was never my intention. I am just putting all the facts out there for you to realize that it is a bit challenging, but it is not impossible. So I would want to share here that we have a lot of corporate trailblazers from the Singapore chapter members. We have CAs who hold top roles in global banks, MNCs, and tech firms. You just look up LinkedIn and you will find all those names popping up. For PDPA purposes, I have not placed their names here. We have renowned entrepreneurs here in Singapore who have created good advisory firms and services firms. And together with that, we also have people who've created trading firms and who have set up good trading businesses here and across. And today there are so many new kinds of, opportunities that are aligning world over, and Singapore can be a good opportunity for people to find partners to work with. It is the backbone of the shipping and trading industry. Singapore, a maritime hub, it's a big maritime hub, and we have finance also driving that. So, some of our own very close members are part of the maritime, world and doing very well successfully for themselves and for their organizations. And definitely, CA members are doing amazingly well in the logistics and commodities sector. For the new gen, from within our membership, we have a lot of new, fresh, minted chartered accountants and big fours and the startups. They are doing well for themselves and, making all the CAs proud. All our seniors who have, grown, who've served their purpose, but they haven't retired yet when they are being here in Singapore. They're working as senior professionals. They are influencing policies. Two of our mentors from the Singapore chapter, they're both Singaporeans, and they definitely do a lot of work with people and influencing policy, the taxation policy, and then business strategies. Here in Singapore, the government works very closely with people. So they definitely, come across as good thought leaders. So Indian chartered accountants become very good thought leaders when they come there. Of course, Indians are proud ambassadors of the profession because we are building bridges between India and Singapore, and all the success stories inspire the global CA community. So what is the conclusion that I would want to say? Singapore does offer immense opportunities for Indian CAs. we have to navigate ourselves the right way. You know, just the way that we have approached certain jobs opportunities in India or certain professional opportunities in India, when you are trying to do work with Singapore, I would request you to revisit this presentation to see that you follow the Singapore nuances, you follow what is needed here more closely to have a better success rate when you're interacting with people in this part of the world. Please do leverage your ISCA and as ICI network. And if you know people who are ISCA associate members, you can network with them and see how that can be used. Try to upgrade yourself once again on international skills, stay informed and be adaptable. And I would say be proactive, target jobs, prepare for interviews, and continue upskilling regularly. So I'm trying to keep it short so that we can have more questions that can be answered. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful session. There are some questions. So
can I stop sharing?
Yes. So there are some questions like I think you and CS Sanjay sir would be able to answer them. So there's a question from Vijay Anandji. The question is, can an Indian resident CA join Singapore chapter?
No. So actually, the Singapore chapter is formed under 3 different regulations. We've been first formed under the statute of the as a chapter under the ICI India, but along with that, we are formed under the Registrar of Societies of Singapore. And the third one that we follow is the international guidelines that are issued to us also. But the Registrar of Societies is very clear that any person who's a member of the chapter has to be residing in Singapore. So a person who does not have a residency visa of Singapore is not eligible to join the chapter.
Okay. What are the tax rates, ma'am? There's a question regarding the tax rates of personal income tax rates.
Personal income tax rates actually can be it can be very low, but generally for a person earning, average will be between 12 to 17%.
Okay. There are 3 more questions. One is process to get ISCA associate membership.
There is
Sanjay, you would want to answer that, or
Yeah, there is actually there is a complete guidelines on the ISCA website, how one can become an associate member of ISCA. So we can share this for the benefit of all the members. We can share this link to all our members. We can share it with you so that it can be shared with the relevant members.
Yes.
And we can go through the guidelines and they can become the members of associate members of ISCA.
But I would like to highlight, even for being an associate member of ISCA, the minimum requirement is being a resident of Singapore for at least 6 months and then having a valid visa to stay in Singapore.
Okay. So there's one more question. Can we do professional services in virtual basis from India? Are there any opportunities like that?
See, opportunities definitely are there, but then that is a case of networking that you have to find, so you have to network and find out the relevant business. But definitely, I know a lot of people who are actually having their services, professional services set up in Singapore. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 people are only operating out of here, and the rest of their entire back office operations are either in Philippines or they are in India. So people definitely do that quite a lot.
Okay. There's a question.
Even there are quite a lot of Singaporean chartered accountants who are based in Singapore who have back offices back in India. So even for the chapter, even for the Singapore chapter, they can leave a questions on the website. Means they can be able to connect to any of our managing committee members to having a network connections in Singapore.
So there's a question from Mohit from Delhi. So they work in AIF ecosystem and act as legal and tax advisors for all kinds of AIF, like private equity and hedge funds, and provide end-to-end structuring and setup. Considering, like, ma'am, so they are asking you, like, how can we connect with fellow professionals who are doing similar structuring and setup of funds in Singapore MSAS?
As I mentioned, see, what happens is generally my experience is that people try to connect over LinkedIn and they try to send out messages over LinkedIn. People do react or do, sometimes don't. Most of our chapter members definitely do write that they are chapter members, right? If in case they are interested, if they are ever visiting Singapore, we can definitely, invite them over to our events and get them to network with people, or they can write to Sanjay or me, and we will see how we can connect them to somebody if we find that relevant. But remote connections rarely work. It's mostly, personal visits that make a lot of better impact.
Okay. There's a question like once a person becomes an associate member in Singapore, whether they can still practice in India.
So basically, those are two independent things. For a person to have an associate membership, he or she has to be a resident of Singapore. So what are they doing? Do they still have their, they have their certificate of practice still in India valid? Depending on where they are on that, they too are independent of each other.
Okay. That's all, ma'am. There are some more questions like regarding the difficulty in getting the visa and regarding the sharing rules and everything. So,
You can ask me the questions. We'll help address.
okay. So there is a one question like in Singapore, sharing of financials is prohibited. Like, so they are kind of questioning like what is that?
No, so Singapore has Personal Data Protection Act.
Okay.
So anything which is sharing a person's individual data without their consent can get them into legal, issues.
Okay.
So whether it is financial, so even if sharing a person's phone number without that consent can get us into an legal issue. So we have to be very careful around that. So it's the same thing goes with financials. So if it's a consent, either you do an NDA or you take a consent and then you do the sharing. It will all depend on that.
Okay. And what is the like how to get Singapore visa? Is it difficult to get?
So as I explained, Singapore visa, a person, if you are coming through as an entrepreneur, then you can look at entry pass. If you want to get a job, then definitely you will have to get a company. You first have to find a job and get a company to sponsor you for the employee pass. It's like in any other country.
Okay. And what is an average salary for an Indian CA in Singapore?
It's actually for an entry pass, I just mentioned it starts with 5,000, but it can be lower. Honestly speaking, it can be lower. Sanjay, I think you wanted to answer that.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to say the same thing, is that it all depends, number one, on the industry that you are getting into. And again, for a startup, as Anu mentioned in her presentation, it is somewhere around closer to around $5,000 to $5,500.
Okay. Uh, so like, what is the hiring season like in Singapore? Like, is there any particular period?
So for a low band salary, I think, what happens is generally Chinese New Year is around January, February. So most of the time for the low band salaries, people will get their 13th month bonus around that time. So after that, the shuffle happens. But that's for the 4,000, 5,000 band salaries. But the moment you get on senior hiring, it depends on every organization's bonus cycles.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I think these are all the questions. Thank you for such a wonderful session. So I think Vishnu sir is not available for conclude. So we would like to conclude the session, and thank you all the participants for joining the session.
Thank you so much.
Rahul, if
Thank
we
you.
have some minute, like, can I take 10-15 minutes? Like, there's so some things which I like.
Yes,
Just,
sir.
so can I with the permission of?
Yes, yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
So I think like direct listing uh, is a important aspect which we can like discuss in detail. So I just allow me a minute. I'm just sharing my presentation on the direct listing thing. So friends, as we were discussing in regards of the direct listings, it would be not only the companies which are there from India, but the companies which are being registered, which have been there at the IFSCA, would also be eligible in terms of their if they think that they would be coming. So my screen is visible. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your screen is.
Thank you. So the companies which are there, not even from India, so Indian companies which have been listed currently can also see the opportunity of getting themselves listed at IFSC. But as of now, the dual listing is not allowed. The regulations are going under process. Once those regulations are there in place, the Indian listed companies can have the dual listing. But the Indian companies which have not yet listed, then definitely can come and get themselves listed. In addition to it, the companies which are already been there at the IFSCA, those companies can come and get themselves listed at the IFSC exchange, the two exchanges which we have discussed. Apart from that, companies which are there at the foreign jurisdiction. So any companies from any part of the world can come and Raghav, I think somebody is
Yes, sir.
so I think somebody's mic is open.
Uh, I think it's a tech support team. Okay, they have turned it off.
Okay, thank you. So the foreign companies at any jurisdiction across the world, if they are eligible, they can come and get themselves listed at IFSC. So you can just see the type and the horizon of opportunities which do exist there at this IFSCA listings. So I can just ensure and assure that if somebody was not eligible in 1992, was not of that age, or have passed as a chartered accountant after 92, or maybe they have not uh, even in practice in 1992. This is a opportunity. If you think SEBI in India as an opportunity, or any of the foreign jurisdiction regulator as an opportunity to practice, IFSC is providing this professional opportunity to you where any company across the world can see this as a place where they can get listed, where they can come and raise money from any part of the world. So you can just understand the permutation combination and the opportunity from this permutation combination which has been arising. So if we see the applicability, the provisions, Definitely, the unlisted public companies which are there, as I told you, the regulations are yet to be framed. So that would be one thing. But in time to come, all the listed companies which are there listed at the Indian stock exchanges, the NSE, BSE, or any other stock exchanges would be eligible in time to come for getting themselves as having a dual listing. In terms of the eligibility, if we see, there should not be any willful default. That is like the most important. The directors should not be barred from any of the Indian company, or if we see any of them should not have gone through any inspection or investigation under Companies Act. And apart from that, they have not been involved in any of the economic offense among between the any of the promoters or the directors. So these are the basic which are there, but they have to be they are applicable at the IFSCA end also. Apart from that, some of the companies which are not having, which have not issued equity shares, they would not be eligible. So companies which are registered under Section 8 companies, companies which are limited by guarantee and by share capital, the companies who are having an outstanding public deposit as per Chapter 5 of Companies Act, any company which is having a negative net worth again would not be eligible. Any company which have default in payments for the public institutions, they would not be eligible. Companies who are going through the bankruptcy code would not be eligible, and have any of the company which have done a default in their annual filing or the financial statements, again they would not be eligible in going with this listing process. Apart from this, for the access of capital, what are the benefits which are available, which are there? So the benefits for listing at this international stock exchange would be in terms of the fund which a company looks forward. So a company which is having a jurisdiction, say in India or at any part of the world, that is the place from where they can raise the capital. But having said that, if their companies are coming and getting themselves listed at the IFSC, then you can see the horizon which have improved, not even from the Indian public, from which LRS route the Indian public can invest in these companies, but companies across the world, the investors, institutions across the world can invest in this company. The credibility which it earns. So a company which maybe at the employees level, maybe at the customer level, you can imagine the credibility it earns at a jurisdiction which is internationally recognized. Somebody who, a company which have raised capital from across the world, how easy it would be to sell their products if they think the jurisdiction from there, from where they have raised their capital, if they are selling, if they are exporting something in those jurisdictions. In terms of the disclosures, there are lesser disclosures as compared to the mature market, as compared to if you see the Indian regulators, there would be less compliances, less follows, which would be there. So these all gives a very big benefit for this coming opportunity of direct listing. So this was a small thing which I wanted that everybody should be aware of. And thank you, the CP committee, for giving this opportunity, and my co-speaker Anuradha ji and Sanjay ji for putting a support to this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there are a request for both the speakers that they can share the PPT to us, so we can share it to the members. And thank you, sir, for both the sessions. And it's been a very great session. And I would like to encourage the members to join the next technical topics on Wednesdays and Fridays to get insights into the various emerging topics. I thank you and I conclude the session. Thank you all. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.